lie more and more still. The screen of the pad popped up with my face, under my name, Eve Redding, and a slew of other data. What the hell? It was me in a white hospital gown. The same picture I'd had taken a few months before when people had come to do a surprise school-wide medical examination. We'd been told it was to ensure none of the students had communicable diseases. Why did they have that picture? I swallowed. In a situation like this, there could be no good reason. "It's her," the woman said. "Hurry, we don't have much time. We'll have to leave her here." That didn't sound good either. But if they were leaving me, at least I wasn't being kidnapped for human trafficking or something. I'd make a bad slave to some rich foreigner, too rebellious and not pretty enough to make up for it. The man nodded and grabbed me by my arm, which was bound behind my back. He lifted my weight roughly. He turned me onto my stomach and lifted the hair off the nape of my neck. There was pressure, and then a sharp pain at the base of my skull. I tried to jerk away, but I couldn't even move an inch. Frustration, terror, and rage boiled up in me, pushing out any forced humor, and a tear slipped down my nose onto the painfully rough concrete pressed against my cheek. Tears. The only outlet my body had. I hated crying. Another pain, slightly lower down. Another tear of rage. He flipped me back over, and the woman came forward, another glass ball in her hand. But this one was filled with a creamy liquid. She knelt in front of me and pressed it to my neck. "I hope this one survives." Wait, what? There was one last quick, sharp pain. She stripped off my electrical immobilizers and tapped the back of her wrist port against the patch on my mouth, causing it to disintegrate. I drew breath to scream and tried to jerk away from her, but my body didn't listen. The alley walls and the woman's back as she stepped into the transport vehicle all spun crazily. I realized it was because my eyes were rolling back into my head as I passed out. Consciousness came lurching back to me with a wave of sickness. I rolled to my hands and knees and heaved up bitter apple bile onto the concrete. My dark brown hair hung unrestrained around my face, and my hands got splashed a little, but I barely noticed. "Oh, God," I moaned, heaving once again. I retched until nothing came out, then crawled to the alley wall and used it to pull myself up. My body shuddered uncontrollably. I looked up through the smoggy air to the sky above. The sun wasn't overhead yet, but even in the shade of the towering buildings, the early summer heat made me feel like I was baking inside the city stench all around me. But I didn't have time to stand there contemplating my own misery. I needed to move right then, or I wouldn't be able to. I stumbled out onto the sidewalk, causing a businesswoman to rear back and sidestep to avoid colliding with me. She curled her lip at me in disgust and clacked away in her towering heels. Skag. I stumbled on my way, using the walls to support myself when my legs couldn't. The other people on the sidewalk veered out of my way, avoiding my eyes or throwing me the derisive glance reserved for homeless people and half-crazed addicts. My brain was tingling. What the hell had they done to me? Everything spun crazily, and every time I blinked, random images and sounds flashed in my head. White walls, a frowning man in a lab coat, monitors blinking and beeping, shouting in a foreign language, a chest straining against restraints, a bright light, blindingly bright. I opened my eyes and found myself leaning back against the side of a building, hot window glass against my back, and my head tilted toward the light of the rising sun. I jerked back and closed my lids against the white-hot heat starting to throb down from the orb. When I opened my eyes again, I saw a man looking suspiciously my way. Fear gave me temporary...